storyteller. Met her. I met her here actually, and she is a jack of all trades. She makes music. She plays instruments. She's funny. When I first met her, and when you first meet her, you might be intimidated by her. I don't know about you guys, but this woman kind of intimidated me. And then I got to know her, and she's just as awkward as the rest of us. So don't let the glamour look fool you. So please give it up for our awesome friend Heather Yeager.
That woman is scared of me? It's hard to imagine. I have a little bit of cough, so please bear with me if I start choking. You're the first person I've met from Wyoming. God, I wish I had $1 for every time I've heard that. Shh, don't tell anyone I escaped, I often say. Although most people would consider going to Wyoming the escape. I suppose it's a matter of opinion. Either way, I find myself back there every summer, like a frickin' salmon, because it's just in my DNA. During our last visit, we were invited to have dinner with friends in town, so we pulled up to Albertsons in Cody, because that's what you do when you're in Cody. It's the only decent grocery store for a couple 100 miles. Out there, you never pass up a grocery store or a gas station. You run out of toilet paper and you are literally shit out of luck. But I digress. I had volunteered to bring fried chicken to our get-together, so once at the deli counter, I got the clerk's attention and said, "Yeah, hi, I'd like to get a couple buckets of fried chicken, please." He had that blonde, blue-eyed, fresh-faced farm boy look. Under his standard issue black apron, he was wearing the requisite Wrangler jeans, heavily worn cowboy boots, and sported a buzz cut. I suspect that instead of his Albertsons polo shirt, he'd prefer to wear a plaid western shirt with mother-of-pearl snaps and a great big Future Farmers of America belt buckle. Of course. Mr. Squeaky Clean cocked his head and folded his arms before replying, "Sorry, ma'am, we don't sell fried chicken in a bucket." I pursed my lips in confusion. "But you have quite a bit of fried chicken and buckets," I said. "Ma'am, I can't sell it to you in a bucket." "Because why? You have chicken right there, next to the buckets." I pointed and tapped on the glass to make my point. The clerk replied, "You're not from here, are you?" Burn. I could feel my cheeks starting to flush, and I stammered, "Yes, I am." "I don't think so." "I totally am." "Yeah-huh." "Well, I've never seen you before." Well, he did have a point. There's only one grocery store in Cody. Well, I am, some of the time. So I was, and then I left. I wasn't from here, but not far from here. But I came back. I always come back. And when I come back, I'm mostly here. And I pointed to the ground. I'm not there. I point in the direction of my hometown, but he clearly thinks I'm pointing to the refrigerated cheese case to the left. So basically, yeah, I'm from here. There was an awkward pause. And when I'm here, I just love to stop in and get some delicious fried chicken, like now. God forbid he think I'm a lowly tourist. I have no idea why it's so important to me that I be accepted as a local. I think it's common for people to form their identity in the geographic region where their childhood was spent. Yet, even though I spent the first 22 years of my life out west, in reality, the last 30 have been spent mostly in Chicago. However, I refuse to identify as a Midwesterner. It just doesn't feel right. So, I don't really feel at home in Chicago, yet leaving Wyoming is tantamount to treason. As such, many Wyomingites tend to treat me with a mixture of curiosity, dash of suspicion, and a sprinkling of thinly veiled resentment because, according to them, I am no longer from Wyoming. Thus, I live my life in exile. But I'm not a goddamn tourist. Just then my husband, Mark, walked up, clearly curious about our exchange. "What's up?" he asked. "This guy," I began, glancing at the name tab that read, Hello, I'm Keaven, above a yellow smiley face. Kevin, I continued, doesn't think I'm from here. I put my hands on my hips defiantly. The clerk looked at me suspiciously and responded, well, if you were from here, you would know we don't sell chicken in a bucket. She's Miss Bighorn County, 1983, my friend, Mark said dryly with a wink. I elbowed him hard. He loves to pull out that juicy little tidbit of embarrassing trivia, especially at cocktail parties, just to watch me squirm. Pageants don't carry the same cachet they used to back in the 80s, with Bighorn County being one of the least sexy titles on the planet. Yet it does provide tremendous fodder for sexual innuendos at my expense. Oh, the clerk said, you're a Niner. That explains it. Anyway, I wasn't born then. He shrugged, totally unimpressed. Yep, she's a Niner, Mark smirked. Mark snickered. You, go buy the booze. Bye-bye now, I said with clenched teeth as I shoved him away. Okay, just to explain, counties in Wyoming are all identified numerically on license plates. Cody is in Park County, which is County 11. Basin, my hometown, is County 9, Bighorn County. Thus, the residents from there are identified as Niners, which is all well and good except for the fact that Bighorn County has an unusually high number of people who are old as fuck, and consequently tend to be terrible drivers. Suffice it to say, being called a Niner is not a compliment. So, Kevin, I persist, smiling sweetly, why do you have all those nice buckets right there next to the chicken if you don't sell it in a bucket? Those are for the wings, ma'am. And it's not Kevin, it's Kevin, just like heaven, he said, beaming. I closed my eyes for a second and then glanced upward before sighing. Of course it is, I whispered to myself. Well, alrighty then, Kevin from heaven. What wings? I responded, confused, since there were no wings in sight. Kevin sighed and said, ma'am, again with the ma'am. The wings are on the wing bar. What wing bar? I asked. Ma'am, you walked right by it on your way in. I did? What the hell? I've been coming to the store since well before my reign as Miss Bighorn County. When did Albertsons get a frickin' wing bar? I rolled my eyes and sighed in defeat. Okay, where the hell is this wing bar then? Kevin handed me a bucket with a smirk and pointed to the front of the store. Seriously, what has happened to society now that the nastiest parts of a chicken, comprised mostly of skin, tendons, bones, and other icky bits, have become so highly revered that they are considered a delicacy in practically every restaurant worldwide? Now they got their own fancy stainless steel altar and special buckets in a friggin' grocery store in Cody, Wyoming. And how did I walk past that and not see it? The thing was practically lit up like the Ark of the Covenant with piles of wings under golden rays of light. I swear I could almost hear an angelic choir. And on a side note, can we really call the boneless ones wings when everyone knows they're glorified chicken nuggets in disguise for the wimps who can't stomach the icky bits? Not that I'm complaining, because I happen to be one of those people. This is what's going through my head as I make my way around the sacred wing bar with the ridiculous assortment of flavors. Buffalo, teriyaki, barbecue, nacho cheese, Cool Ranch, jalapeno, habanero, sriracha, and Death Star, aka crap your pants hot. I toss in a few wings and fake wings, avoiding the Death Star, and deliberately leave a great deal of room in the bucket, smiling to myself because I have a plan. At the counter, I dramatically drop the bucket on the counter and say, okay, so, Kevin, my man, if you could just throw some pieces of chicken on the top, that would be great. Ma'am, I already told you we don't sell chicken in a bucket. We only sell it in a bag. Kevin turns, picks up some tongs, and aggressively fills the rest of the bucket with fried potato wedges. He then plops the bucket on the counter, pushes it forward, and stares at me defiantly with his nearly colorless border collie blue eyes. Touché. We are clearly at an impasse. Kevin pushes his glasses up, and we have a stare down. I sigh in frustration. Awesome, I say, dripping with sarcasm. You see, the thing is, putting a bag of chicken in the middle of the table for dinner just isn't the same. I mean, you've had KFC before, right? It always comes in a bucket. It's about the presentation, you know? Kevin didn't respond. Presentation was obviously not an issue for him. My mom doesn't allow us to eat fad food. She says it's not healthy, he said, looking at me in a super judgy way. What? I said, Kevin, do you eat these wings? Because I'm telling you, they probably come from the same giant wing factory somewhere in Bufu, Arkansas. I'm pretty damn sure you guys aren't making them from scratch back there, are you? Well, are you? Kevin looked away, shoved his hands in his pockets, and shuffled nervously. Well, I'm sure you've at least seen the commercials for KFC, which illustrate my point. No, because we don't have a TV. My mom says TV is the devil's workshop. Followed by folded arms and a self-righteous church lady stare. Are you fucking kidding me? I say in my head. Because I'm 98% sure this squeaky clean kid is a Mormon, like the majority of people in the area, many of my relatives included. Saying it out loud would only further increase his judgment of me. Instead, I decide to negotiate. Kevin, so if you could sell me chicken in a bucket, how many pieces do you think you could get in there? Kevin picks up the bucket, looks inside the bucket, eyes the chicken, puts the bucket next to the chicken, a few inches away. God forbid he touch the chicken with the bucket. Scratches his head and says, oh, I'm guessing about 8 or so. Cool. And how many pieces of chicken fit in a bag? Oh, 6 to 8, he responds. Okay, so how about I get 2 bags of chicken then? Yes, ma'am, he said, clearly relieved that I'd come to my senses. As he starts to load one of the bags, I ask, oh, and Kevin, how much is a bucket? Because I need 2. I smile sweetly and wink. He freezes. Ma'am, you know I can't put the chicken in the bucket! His pink farm cheeks are now bright red. I know, I'm not asking you to. Well, the buckets aren't for sale. He is visibly chafing at the thought of breaking protocol. Kevin, seriously? I look at him imploringly. Are you really going to make me buy more wings and potatoes that I don't want for a stupid bucket that probably costs a penny? Even though I would easily pay $1 for it if you'd let me, for Christ's sake. Charge me for 2 buckets of wings and you keep the goddamn things. Treat yourself. Well, taking the Lord's name in vain, cuss words, the threat of breaking protocol, and possibly ingesting forbidden fruit was just too much for Kevin to bear. He finally buckled, and after an impetuous foot stomp and melodramatic whine, handed me my bucket of wings and fake wings and the 2 bags of fried chicken and 2 glorious empty buckets. Victory was mine. I exited the store, prize in hand, smiling with smug satisfaction. I was so distracted that I was nearly run down by an ancient, dusty, root beer brown Lincoln Town Car, the size of a Winnebago. On the rear window were a couple faded decals, including an I Heart My Blue Healers and an NRA membership. Tea Party stickers adorned the rear bumper, which was held in place with some baling wire. The Lincoln sputtered noisily, muffler long gone, and made a sudden turn without using the turn signal, careening into an adjacent aisle. Within a matter of seconds, the sickening sound of metal on metal was heard. I rushed over to see what had happened. Lo and behold, the Lincoln had T-boned an old-school 1980s baby blue station wagon smack dab in its fake wooden side panel. Both cars looked strangely familiar. Son of a bitch! Fucking Niners!